Does anyone have anything they'd like a little bit of coaching around? Oh, it's my intro talk. I don't have one. I'm just here. Where's everyone coming in from? Go ahead, Christy. Stan.
Massachusetts, just west of Boston. I'm having trouble accessing
The chat.
chat.
Okay,
Screen
I'm
just
going to
comes.
stop sharing.
There we go.
All the tech stuff is out of control right now, so.
So the thing that I would like some coaching on is that my 10-year-old, who has a combined type ADHD, is quite impulsive and she really seeks, we talked a little bit about this last week, screens and sugar.
Mhm.
It comes to those things, she will lie to me
Mhm.
the drop of a hat.
Mhm.
And that is a trigger for me. And I need to work on how to stay calm with that. I today did stay calm, she lied right, looked me right in the eyes and lied to me. And it's not even that she's using a screen without my permission. It's the lying. It really, then later she'll say to me, "Why don't you believe me?" And I say, "Because you're you're telling me that I can't believe you when you don't tell me the truth."
Mhm.
So that's
So
where
just pause.
I'm.
Okay. Someone being untruthful. Just notice what's happening in the body. So everyone who has been untruthful, right? Who has been lied to? So this is a universal theme, right? So just listen in on what your body's doing. When I invite Christy to kind of check in, I want you to do the same for your particular life, okay? So where do you feel it in your body, Christy?
I think in my chest.
So put your hand there. What's the emotion?
Um, I don't know, is betrayal emotion? Fear?
Yes.
Anger?
Anger. Yes. Okay. Okay, feel into the anger. Notice anger is a cover feeling for sadness or fear. I want you to see if you can feel underneath the anger.
Yeah. I mean, I feel sad that she doesn't feel like she can be honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
not sure if it's fear or sadness that, well, there's definitely fear. I lied and hid a lot when I was her age
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't, because wasn't
Safe.
getting what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I lied to get what I wanted.
To get
And
what
I,
you wanted, and it wasn't safe.
yeah, and it wasn't safe. Yeah.
Okay. So just
And,
notice.
you know,
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
no, that's okay. And just, um, and I also have some trust challenges, like,
Mm-hmm.
like real
Mm-hmm.
trust issues. Yeah.
With other people.
With other people.
Yes. Okay. This resonates with me. I'm going to assume it's going to resonate with everyone else because the presidential election's coming up. It's like major trust issues, right? So when I bring up these larger things, it might feel complicated, but what I'm doing is I'm constantly looking at the parallels because once you can figure out the dynamic, everything gets more and more clear. Okay. So these groups are an opportunity for us to practice the lens that we're using. Okay. And the reason why I start with the image of the little ones is we want to make sure that we have the lens of the functional adult. Not because we should always have the functional adult driving, but it's like the widest lens, right? Our little ones have the most narrow lens because it's limited by their development, okay, and their limitations in their age. So the first off thing is reminding ourselves everyone is inherently worthy, whether or not they lie, okay? So there is a situation I think of. Oh, we just lost Christy. I know they're going to come back. If someone lies, right, they go down in size. I can't trust them, right? This comes from the belief of codependence of if I make a mistake, that makes me bad. If someone lies to me, it makes them bad, right? Because perfection is what makes me good enough. But actually, what we've learned is perfection is this. And everyone who's not perfect or elite or of the upper class are this, right? So it's the constant dynamic of better than, if I'm honest and do everything that I'm supposed to perfectly, right? This is the elite. I'm honest. I do everything perfectly, right? And then this is everybody else, the liars, those who are not honest, those who are not perfect. So, this dynamic in young childhood, if my love was contingent on being perceived as perfect or obedient, because I was afraid of the criticism or punishment or withdrawal of love from the parent figure, I would sure as shit protect my image more than anything. Okay. So, this is the first way to regulate, to stay calm, is to, again, fill yourself up with light and warmth. This is your functional adult. You're growing, right? You're practicing. And you look at the little one and you go, hey, only look to me for your love. You don't have to do it perfectly. I don't even want to do the thing. I totally understand, right? I'm here. I got you. I'm going to love you no matter what. If you do everything exactly as you're supposed to, or if you do none of it, I'm here no matter what, right? And you are no more special than anybody else. This part's hard. For folks who have been the golden child or perceived as like better than your other siblings, okay, there is that sense of superiority. I have to maintain that hero child position with my parent, right? So that I can secure their love. And then what happens is I get this specialness, right? Which feels really, really nice. And it's very, very harmful because people are going to hold on to that because they think if they don't have that, then they go down to this insignificance, worthlessness, unlovability, right? But what happens is if you're used to being a hero child or perfect for everyone, this is not who you really are. You're just people pleasing and you're performing to the other person. You're not authentically there. Okay. And so letting your little one know you don't have to perform with me, your functional adult. You also don't have to be perfect for anybody else. Stop looking to the kids. Stop looking to your partner. Stop looking to society. Okay. Only look to me. And then look to your tween. Okay. As your little one's like there looking at you, you're holding her, looking to the tween and say, I love you no matter what. You belong with me. You don't have to look anyway. You don't have to behave anyway. I will not ostracize you. And I will not shame you for how you look or behave or impulsively do things. Okay. I have you no matter what, and I need you only to look to me. I'm the one you've been waiting for. Okay. And then with your teenager, you just bump shoulders and go, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. All the different ways that you've controlled yourself, controlled others, to manipulate others, to create a sense of safety, all those different ways have gotten us to this place. But sweetheart, that control is what makes you anxious as fuck and tired and angry, frustrated. If they would only do the thing exactly as I'm saying. It's the same control that you do with yourself. And sweetheart, that is not a way to live. I trust you. This is all just decisions with data. And I need you to take your white knuckles off of this wheel. I'm going to put you in the back with an iPad and snacks and all the things that make us feel good because we're like dopamine deprived or like addicted, right? Like, and just, I'm going to drive the bus and be like, I'm here now. Only look to me. Don't look to society. There is no one right way to do this. Okay. So having our functional adult at the wheel, we can then have a conversation with the child. Okay. So 10 is that young child part, right? A lot of growth, a lot of feelings, a lot of loneliness, especially as we come out of the pandemic. And so so zooming out, okay, what I'm saying is this is not the one way to do it. I'm talking about the themes. We often go looking for something that is like a dopamine hit when we're uncomfortable, when we're tired, when we're hungry, when we're lonely. So help your child figure out which one of those and go, oh, that makes sense. You're hungry. Okay. Well, if you eat this in 30 minutes, you're going to feel really tired and it's going to be cranky. And because you're choosing this, and I'm going to be cranky too. So just like, and that's going to be okay, right? Because the bottom line is it's you demonstrating that you love your child no matter what. Right? And that your job is to guide in the sense of it's not a mistake. These are choices that have different data points, right? Around the safety issue, that's really important to say, hey, sweetheart, for me, if you lie to me to get out of trouble, the story I make up is I can't keep you safe because you're going to be worrying about getting in trouble. So here's the agreement. If you tell me the truth, you won't get in trouble. There will be consequences, but I won't scream at you. I will say, thank you so much for telling me the truth. And you've lost your privilege for the iPad because you snuck it. Right? Does that make sense? And this is a long game, Christy. Just like, self-regulation is the long game. It's like practice, right? Like, oh, you snuck it. That makes sense. You were really tired after the thing, or I think you might be lonely, or you're hungry or tired, That makes sense. And let's put it away. No big deal. No, 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 you can't take it away. Oh, right. Safety. And you go, little one, internal adaptive wounded child. This is not a safety issue. They're having feelings. And you were never allowed these feelings. So it feels really scary. Don't worry. No one's going to die. You're not bad. I got you. Does that make sense? How does that land in your body now?
That lands very well. I feel I can breathe deeper. I feel relief.
Mm-hmm.
And I have language to have a discussion with her. And also happy to know that the consequence was also, I mean, that sort of like trust also is like lack of trust in myself that, I consciously do not want to be a punishing adult, a punishing parent,
Mm-hmm.
but there are consequences, right?
Yeah.
And so those, I tell my kids that there are consequences and to every action, and there are positive consequences or negative consequences. And still I have some sort of a feeling, right, that like a consequence is a punishment. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying very hard to be mindful about like, is this a consequence? Am I actually truly giving a consequence, or am I pissed off that they are lying to me, that she's lying to me, and this is a punishment?
It can be
So
both, right? So let's look at climate
yeah,
change. The consequence is also negative. It is punishment, right?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
cannot limit
yeah,
consumption, this is the consequence, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes we need to enforce certain things because convenience and comfort is way easier to do than holding back, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah,
I just want to highlight the dynamic again. Punishment
Right.
feels like this.
Yeah.
Permissive parenting feels like this.
Yeah.
And so what we're
Yeah.
trying to do is the middle.
Yeah.
Humanity.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my God, I got no
Yeah.
spoons. I'm going to do like, yep, go on the screens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not perfection. It's just, right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes total sense. And what you said in the beginning about being like the golden child, like, and that was me, right? My
Yes.
sister was the one that misbehaved. And I was like, oh, if I do everything the right way, I'll be loved. And
It
yeah,
wasn't real love.
absolutely. Right.
It
No.
wasn't real love. It was
Right.
not real
Oh,
love.
yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. You are so, thank you. So insightful.
Thank you. Christina has her hand raised.
I'm
Oh,
struggling.
wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Between each, you're going to take a drink and we're going to shift. Okay. The reason is what we have learned in our society is like an emotion sandwich. So we don't learn to like slow down and bring the nervous system down and go, okay, this is another thing. Okay. The story I make up, Christina, is it's connected to what I just did, but the pause is important between.
The pause is important. Yes, I'm learning to slow down. It's taking longer than I expected. But as an extension of this conversation that Christy brought, and thank you, Christy, for that. How old is your child?
She's 10 and my older one is 12. And there is currently World War III happening. I will be right back. I'm sorry.
And it's not World War III.
Yeah.
Words matter. Words matter. There is sibling rivalry. There is
Yes.
negotiation happening that I will go and take care of.
Thank you. Words do matter.
Yes, words
Thank
matter.
you.
Okay,
I say
great.
that to my own children and thank you for reminding me.
Yes, because we're human. Yeah, go ahead, Christina.
Um, I am struggling with the distinction between consequences and punishment. And when I say this, I'm really embodying my son who had care when I had my son, I went on maternity leave for 3 months and then I was right back in the workplace. I did not, I wanted, long story short, of course, yes, I wanted this child. He was deliberately
Mm-hmm,
conceived, you know.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's just my story.
mm-hmm,
Um, and so when I went in, then of course, you know, we had to get someone because we both worked. And
mm-hmm,
so we needed someone to take care of our infant son.
mm-hmm,
And then throughout, you know, just until he was ready to go to kindergarten, and even then, up until he was ready to bring himself home to school, he had someone taking care of him long
mm-hmm,
term. There were two women, wonderful,
mm-hmm,
except they came from different cultures, which
mm-hmm,
is, you know, fine. And of course, everyone has their own distinct personality.
mm-hmm,
Somewhere along the line, and I'm putting myself into this mix and my ex-husband, my
mm-hmm,
co-parent,
mm-hmm,
somewhere along the line, I really think that our son has conflated consequences with punishment.
mm-hmm.
Oh,
Not
do
alone. The American public have also felt like consequences and punishment are completely.
and so he's going to be 14 now in September.
Mhm,
He is coming into a completely different environment. He's starting in a brand new school
uh-huh,
in a different country,
mhm,
and there's going to be a lot that's going to be, I expect it would be natural for a lot to be coming up. Plus, his brain development is what it is, you know, like there's going to be very little impulse control.
mhm,
The prefrontal cortex is not going to be online. The amygdala is going to be, you know, like driving everything.
mhm.
And so, and so he will make mistakes,
Yes,
which is
me
fine,
too. Yes. Uh-huh.
right? And I fully expect that.
Uh-huh.
How do I have a conversation with him to get across that I expect he will make mistakes?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything he's doing in his life, he is doing for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
He more than likely will not get it right. It
Mm-hmm.
will take a few tries and several mistakes. And so when things have fallen the way, when the cards are like on the table, like he takes it, makes a decision,
Mhm.
and the cards fall on the table the way that they did, someone's feelings got hurt,
Mhm.
school has called,
Mhm.
the friend doesn't like him,
Mhm.
he was late, he da 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 da.
Right.
How do I have a conversation with him to, for myself also, help him distinguish between, I'm not mad at you and this is not a punishment, but it is this is a result of your decision.
Mhm.
Because he doesn't yet
Mhm.
make that distinction. And in several, many, I know if you looked at his mental dictionary,
Mhm.
consequences and punishment has no difference in his
Yes,
mind.
because the nuance is not there yet.
No, it's
Nor
not.
is it for us who had critical parents.
In my case, my parents were, especially my father was absent, my mother was hypervigilant because of her own anxiety and
Yes.
hypercritical as well because of her own. I have really tried not to do that and to really position him as his own person and as his own entity,
Yes.
right?
So I'm going to pause. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I want you to notice what's happening in your body.
Um, kind of like not breathing fully because I want to get enough words out to convey what I'm trying to express to make sure that you understand what I'm saying.
Mhm. How do I do this right? Is that what you're saying?
How do I
Underneath it.
how do I express myself in such a way that he will understand that he is safe?
Yes.
And like, I'm not mad at you, but
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. So first off,
and I
whenever
might
we're
be
like,
also, and that's okay. And like I
yeah,
might be mad at you and that's okay.
yes,
And but
this is a feeling, right? So there's also this aversion to anger,
in
especially
my
when
case,
we've,
it's very dangerous.
yes, when you were little and your parent got angry, it was terrifying and unsafe, possibly physically, possibly emotionally, right? Notice what's happening in your body. So I'm just going to invite, I'm not going to squeeze, and we're not going to squeeze the anger. I love how this works. We had another session. So what I'm doing right now is I'm bilateral tapping. Okay. It's interesting, this group here. Folks who think anger is bad. Raise your hands if you're scared of anger. Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at an apartment today. I'm looking at apartments for my son and I was even a little scared to even tell the broker what it is that I wanted
Because
in
it
the
might.
place, because I don't want him to think that I'm too much or I'm being
Yes.
demanding, and I don't want him to
Who's
be
driving the bus for Christina? Who's driving?
that I'm too much. The tween,
Okay. Who else?
the baby,
Yes. The baby
the
and the wounded child.
okay.
The wounded child is always kind of dictating the route, okay? The map that we're going on, because the wounded child is the one who has the belief. And the belief, the story I make up, so see how this lands in your body to see if it's accurate, is I am not safe. Or
Yes,
people
like
are not safe.
yeah, or like the broker's going to be mad with me and be like, "Oh my God, this woman."
Yes. And so again, zoom out. Whenever you're afraid of someone, right? Zoom out and go, okay, so I'm afraid someone's going to think and judge me and get me wrong, right? Maybe there's part of me that's worried that my kid's going to not get that I'm safe because I might be angry.
Or that the world is not safe, that it's not
Okay.
just me. It's not just
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
He,
Here's the
that
thing.
he is not able to distinguish yet
Mhm,
between consequences and punishment, like
mhm, mhm,
consequences, the result of your actions, and punishment,
mhm,
punishment as, and the thing is, like, I guess he and I need to even have a conversation when he gets here.
mhm.
You know,
And it's
we
not going
haven't,
to be one conversation. It's going to be like 70 gajillion conversations, right? Because it's going to
right,
be like consequence about ice cream, consequence about dating somebody, consequence about homework, consequence about walking. Do you know what I mean? They're
yeah.
different sizes, right? But it's the same dynamic. When you make a mistake, I'm going to have your back and I'm going to have some feelings. And my responsibility is to manage my feelings. And your responsibility is to know that you're good no matter what and hear what I'm trying to tell you and you take what you want because you are practicing creating your life as a grown up. And I am here, right?
I just realized something. I realized that the reason I haven't felt safe is because there was never a conversation with my parents regarding what was expected of me.
Yes.
Everything was, and so everything was very arbitrary.
Yes. Because
And
they
so,
didn't know what was expected.
well, and they also didn't regulate, and they were always,
Yes.
it was just,
So
it was
it's
a hot
I
mess.
am unsafe. And so I have to anticipate everything for everyone else so they can stay safe with me. So
Well,
they don't.
and from the child's perspective, you never know what you're going, if what you're going to do is right or wrong or how it's going to be. So,
Yes.
so going forward
Hmm.
with this, my next generation, with this child that I am
Hmm.
guiding,
Hmm.
it is to have a conversation with him so that he knows what the expectations are and we have an agreement.
Hmm.
And so therefore, when he does make a mistake,
Hmm.
and when he does go too far, or when he does break the agreement,
Hmm.
then it's clear that that's what it is. So he knows, like,
But
the
here's the
agreement.
thing, Christina. You keep
Yeah.
going to your kid, but it's really about you. Okay. And so again, look at your little one and go, I am here now. Functional adult is here. I'm going to keep you safe. No matter what you do, I am not going to punish you. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to blame you, throw you under the bus, like make you feel small. I am here for you. Okay. Do not look to anyone else. Do not look to our bank account. Do not look to anybody else for approval or safety or anything. Only look to me. I am your person now. Okay. You look to the tween. I will not ostracize you. I will not shame you. I will not demean you for anything. The way you look, what you choose, like there are nothing you can do. There's no other you on this planet. Okay. You're
Right.
your
And
own adaptive teenager. The
that
thing
feels,
is,
yeah.
our kids learn from our behavior, they do
Uh,
not learn from what we say.
okay.
And the teenager who's like, okay, okay, so I'll have a conversation when he gets here, and you want to go, hey, teenager, you had no guidance. You had no guidance. And look at, we moved to another country. We're starting in this beautiful land. And I am so proud of you. All the different ways that you've adapted have gotten us to this place. Thank you so much. And your hypervigilance is such a gift and really exhausting. And I am here now and I'm going to take the bus. I'm going to take the wheel and I need you to stop policing these little ones around doing this perfectly. Everyone needs to look to me. I am the driver now. And guess what, kids? In my globe of light, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing either. And so part of this modeling is me going, let's see how this goes with this like person who's helping us with the apartment. Because the little ones, Christina, are looking to the functional adult and going, I wonder if she's going to say what she needs. Because if she doesn't, they're not going to trust you.
Oh, that totally.
Neither will your kid in real
And
life.
when I finally did, it was like, and so the other thing that I really wanted, which I know is unreasonable and would put me outside of the category of what I'm looking for. And
Mhm.
and then right? And he goes, well, actually, if you put in this other variable, then yes. And it was a very rational conversation.
Yes. So you approach the conversation in your functional adult because you're telling your little ones you are not annoying. Your existence does not annoy me, functional adult, little
Well,
ones,
it
right?
was it was in the moment of, if I don't say what I want, I'm not going to get it. Right?
Exactly.
No one's going to know what I want unless I say it. And I contracted the guy.
Mhm. And so your kid, when he comes, is going to watch you. And when you make a mistake, you're going to go, ugh, gah, I should have said what I wanted from the beginning. Here I am. Here's my consequence. The guy's mad at me. We did all of this work looking for this thing in this neighborhood, and I didn't tell him the truth. So he's mad, which makes sense. And I'm in charge of my own circle, and I'm going to hold myself in love and deal with the consequence of someone being annoyed at me. Okay.
So what I'm hearing is, I came on and said, how do I help my child to make a distinction between consequences and punishment? My rational mind went, here's my plan of action, controlling,
Your teenager. Yeah.
right?
Huh?
And so what you're saying is, just like, you be you and let your child observe you being you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you are both right size.
Mm-hmm. But verbalize it. So,
Yeah.
so sweetheart, you're in a new country. Me too, even though our family's from here, right? I don't know how things are going. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be making, these decisions and then these consequences are coming back. And I have a constitution that I get really scared if someone gets mad at me, right? How about you? Yeah, you too? Okay. And so for me, this is how I manage when someone gets mad at me. I like put up this force field and I remind myself that no matter what, I'm okay. It's just a feeling, it'll pass, right? And so what I don't do is shame myself. What do you do when someone gets mad at you? Okay. Can we make the agreement that if I do something that pisses you off, you'll let me know and I'll know that you still love me even though you're mad at me and I'll do the same thing back to you. Is that okay? Pinky swear? Okay, good. Let's do that. Right? Does that make
This
sense?
this whole thing is recorded and I can go back to it,
Yes. Over and over and over
please,
again.
because I'm gonna
Yes.
have to bookmark this.
Yes.
Can I ask you something else and just on top, and I know that, I just 2 more minutes, because am aware that everyone else is in the group too and have their own
Thank you.
worlds.
Yes.
Um,
And who else is this helpful for anybody else on the call? Okay. So Christina, in case your wounded child is like, oh my God, Jennifer's face, you just want to like hold them and be like, no, this is a gift for everyone. You're a gift for everybody. I got you. Only look to me. No one else in the group. Okay, go ahead.
something that my son and I have a tradition of doing with each other when we is we pause and we go, let's have a do-over.
Mhm, mhm,
And it's our way of sort of resetting everything, and like,
mhm,
you piss me off, and blah, 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 and then
mhm,
let's have a do-over.
mhm,
And then the rest of the afternoon glides.
mhm,
And
mhm,
but that's okay. That's not, we're throwing things under the bus. We're not like putting things under the rug. We're fine and let's just keep going. That's good. I'm not like being avoidant with him when I say, are you ready for a do-over? Like,
Yeah,
because he's in agreement, right? So that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
totally okay. Unless it's like you're giving up the thing and like, let's just do it over and I'm just going to give in to you. That's not
No, no,
helpful.
no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah.
It's like we're so tired of like circling the same conversation, and we're just like, just let's
That
just
is
stop.
wise. That is
Okay.
very wise.
Okay. All right.
Again, there is no
That's
right way,
okay.
not about perfection for
Okay.
anybody. Okay. How's your body feeling?
Tight. I didn't sleep a lot last night. I was like up watching all the Kamala Harris like stuff going on.
Okay.
All
Good.
right, but
Go.
thank you for
I
the
want you to
time.
move. Okay. Yes. Yes. This was a gift. Okay. So for everyone, take a sip of water, eat something sweet. I don't know. So funny how we're like so like anti-sugar, anti-screens, right? It should be anti-dissociation, anti-stress, right? Like, how do we get on our side and go, I totally, we all immediately took a drink. That was like heavy. Like, great. So it's like, how do we just chill out, you know? Yeah. Like, we are doing the best that we can with what we got. And there's a lot of generational trauma that we're trying to clear out, right? So it's like constantly having the right sizing, right sizing, right sizing all the time. Okay.
This was so helpful. Really, I thank you. That
You're
was great.
welcome.
Thanks so
Good.
much.
Larissa, your hand is up. I don't know if it was in agreement or you have a question.
Yeah, I wanted to bring something for coaching,
Please.
and the previous two were really helpful to me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wanna like try to apply this tween who's driving the bus framework to like something that happened today that I was like, I think for the first time I was like, oh, this is how I can like marshal. I thought the adult was driving, but then I realized it was the teen.
Mhm.
And so, okay, so this is about me and my mother. I'm pregnant, and the circumstances of the anecdote is that I told her, she asked me how I am, and I told her that my observation is that I have gained a certain number of pounds, which seem to be like according to where how many months I'm pregnant is quite low. And I said, I think it's low because I've just moved. It's very hot. I have a lot of like reasons for why this is. And from like a very practical view, I'm going to try to eat more, but I also read that all sorts of women give births at all sorts of different
Mhm.
body weights and gains, and the
Mhm.
baby is fine.
Mhm.
A few hours later, she leaves me a voicemail
Mhm.
that says um that says that if I just simply go to the local Chinese supermarket and buy a certain like type uh of 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 noodles that should obviously be available, and then throw enough vegetables in it, I should be able to get enough nutrients. It's not that hard.
Mhm.
Um
Mhm.
and and so I thought of so my first response was to be like, Mom, you don't know what's available in my market. If it were that easy, yeah, I would not be having issues eating. The thing is, like, I can barely find any fresh vegetables, like Chinese vegetables here. That's what I wanted to reply, like, just
Right.
pick up the phone and call her. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, then I think we're gonna get into some sort of like, what are we really discussing here? So then I was
Exactly.
like, oh, I'll metabolize this. And then my mind was like, and then later tonight, I'll just tell my husband, like, oh, like these funny things that my mom says. And like, and I realized, why would I tell him that and want to share that with him? And I realized it's because I wanted his validation that, of course, like my mom is being unreasonable, which is the
Mhm.
story that I have in my head.
Mhm.
And I realized, oh, I think that's a form of triangulation. Like I had thought that this was me being mature, like not shouting back at my mom. And it is like it has been a better coping mechanism
Mhm.
to like just, but I also realized I was sort of like there was more growth here, which is like bringing it to my that could be done. Like bringing it to my husband is also a way of like complaining about my mom. indirectly and seeking validation that like, of course, of like my particular worldview about
Mhm.
my contentious relationship with my mom.
Mhm.
So I had thought like, so then I realized like, what, again, like, why would I bring it to my husband? And I was like, do I really need from like planning this interaction with my husband? Like,
Yes.
what
What
is
do
the
I
wounded
really
child
need?
asking for?
Mhm.
And I just realized, wait, I can literally just tell myself that I have good reason to be gaining the amount of weight that I am gaining. And I could just sort of like metabolize, like I can just like be like, yeah, I don't agree with my mom. And I also don't need my husband's validation,
Yes. I mean, it
right?
feels good, Larissa, right? To have the
Yeah.
validation. And you can share with your husband, oh my gosh, look at Christina's fireworks. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself, husband. I did this thing, right? And before I share it with you, I don't want any suggestions of how I should have done it differently. I'm really just proud of myself and I just want to share it with you so you can witness it and be proud of me. Okay? Again, so you're doing that to prepare your little ones of like, only look to me. We're gonna be seen, right? And go, this is what happened. Mom was trying to love me from her teenager. And my teenager was like, what the fuck? And I was able to metabolize it instead of hold it like a rock that I had to put in another like reason why, you know? And so this is
Yeah.
what I did. Look at me.
Cause I think like because I'm still like processing. I think the initial impulse to call her, it was the teenager who
Yes.
was like, I have it all under control. Like, you think I haven't checked out like all the possible ways to feed myself here? Like,
Right.
why can't you be more helpful? You should talk to me differently and then go down this other path, right? Like
Yes.
basically it was the teenager wanting to be like, wanting to show her that like I've got it under control.
Yes, but here's
And yeah,
yes. Right? So it's also I have it under control and like please trust that I'm doing the best that I can, right? But there's a piece here in particular around possibly your history of when you were a teenager and you didn't have it and you didn't get the guidance that you needed. How does that land?
yeah. Well, because I'm like, well, technically she's trying to help. Like,
Right.
because I was like, if she were a colleague, like if we didn't have this emotional gap baggage and she's like, oh, I heard you have trouble like finding ways to feed yourself over in Pakistan.
Mhm.
Like you should make this noodle soup. I would be like, yeah, thanks. But like, why can't I respond that way to my mom? I almost wanted to like push her away and to be
I
like,
don't
you
need
cannot
you.
possibly. Yeah,
Yes,
I
that
don't
tears
understand
from a
this.
wound. Okay? When you so the story I make up and is when we've had a wounding at a certain developmental stage with our parent and could not get them to help the ways that we wanted to or show up the ways that we wanted to, an adaptation for that part of us, a teenager, is to go, I don't need you, right? Is to go to the other extreme, right? To protect themselves of going, I'm not going to let mom know I don't know what I'm doing or I didn't do this thing right because she's just going to yell at me, right? Rather than be a So again, this group is amazing because it's all connected, right? Rather than be a co like journeyer, right? They become the police and the lawyer, the judge, right? Whereas I just need a partner, right? Not to save me, but just be able to be like, wow, I'm so proud of you for doing this. This is really hard. Something that I'm wondering is if there's this vegetable there or this noodle there. Do they have that there? You know? The thing is, that's not possible because of the trauma, which is not to say, right, you can't grieve it. It's about teaching are offering like Google Translate when your mom says, well, no, it's easy. You just go to the market and get this noodle and then you get it. And it's like, Mom, I think what you're thinking is that in Pakistan, they have these things here. It's actually, there's not a lot of Chinese grocery stores. That's actually why I'm having a hard time. What I'll do is I'll show you a picture of it because then you won't really understand until you see it because you've never been in like these places, right? So it's like you translating because it's easier on your body and it's better for the relationship, right? To assume good intent, right? And then privately, you might go to your teenager and go, oh, I know you wanted to drive the bus and I made us not. And I just want to let you know when you were a teenager and you didn't have mom's guidance or support in the ways that you needed, I'm so proud of you. I see that. I see that time that you had to figure it out on your own in a completely new environment. I'm so proud of you. And you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. I'm here and I believe you and I celebrate and admire how courageous you are. And teenager, we don't have to do this alone. And we don't have to do it in spite of anyone or anti anyone. How does that land, Marissa?
Yeah, so like there can be this, yeah, it's giving me a possibility. Like I can like relate to my mom with my functional adult.
Yes.
And then the part that did get wounded
Mm-hmm.
because I'm realizing that the teenager felt judged. The
Yes.
teenager heard that what the mom was saying is, you can't even find a way to make simple noodles for yourself.
Right.
That's why I wanted to pick up the phone and set the record straight.
Right. But you would want to, if you did it to double check, is that what you're doing? Because the story I make up is the teenager feels guilty for not being there, helping you. That your mom.
Her teenager.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's
Yeah.
not your responsibility. But what you're doing is you're building empathy on who's driving the bus. Why is she responding in that way? Oh, maybe she feels guilty that she's not. And what you can say is like, hey, these noodles sound amazing. Can you make sure to pack it when you come or ship it to me? Right? Like
Yeah.
parcel it to me. That'll be so helpful. Does that make sense?
Right.
So
So I
it's
can
again
take care of my
using that.
teenager.
Yes, your
Or
job
my
is only
wounded
to take care
child
of
who
your
felt
wounded child.
judged.
Yes. This is not about you, sweetheart. Don't take it personal. It's not about you either. She's just limited perspective, right? She has no idea what we're dealing with. And that's not on her, right? I can show her more, maybe visual or video or FaceTime or, does that make sense? And what you can do is just make a list of specific things she can send to you.
Yeah.
Right? Because the goal, functional adulting, is interdependence. Dude, those noodles sound amazing. Can you overnight them? And I know it's going to be expensive, but there's nothing here. Right? It's not like, I don't need you. Because then you don't get the noodles. Right? It's like, you want the noodles. Right? So it's like, you're like, oh, Mom, that's such a great idea. Can you overnight it to me? And like add in some stuff that you think I might like, And then it's like, oh, I feel useful. I feel valued. I feel seen. Same thing as you. We're all the same. Does that make sense? How does that land in your body?
Yeah, it makes me feel like more open, like, because I was just thinking like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna respond to that particular message. But now I'm realizing like, oh, okay, I can also like, there are possibilities to respond.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.